Hey y'all, it's Michelle Pippin with WomenWhoWOW.com and our official Women Who Wow blog at themichellepippin.com. And I am excited to talk with you guys today about how to build a following for your business, how to generate demand for your business without kind of leaving the house, without having to crisscross the country and go stage to stage and state to state. And the reason I'm doing this is because I looked around and I realized that in our Women Who Wow community, as well as other women who are not yet in Women Who Wow, but are engaging with me online, a lot of them are homebodies like me, right? They really want a simple life, right? They don't really enjoy the travel and all of that. And I want to just kind of put this out there because I sometimes get sort of what's it called when you can only see your own view? Is it egocentric about travel, right? I get egocentric about two things. So one of them is travel. I sort of assume most people are doing it begrudgingly if they're doing it for work, right? Like going to Jamaica with your husband, no big deal. Like going to the mountains with your family, no big deal. I like to do those things. And I will travel at the end of this month to have some business meetings and also attend a conference, and I'm looking forward to it. But in general, I do not love the whole leaving my house, leaving my family, getting on a plane and traveling someplace. And I kind of get egocentric about it in terms of thinking that that everyone feels that way about me. So when they say, or everyone feels the same way as me. So when they say like, oh, I'm going here and there, and this is what my month looks like, I, feel sorry for them. And I'm thinking, oh, I hate that for you, right? And I get egocentric, thinking that no one feels differently about travel than I do. And I get that some people really love that. They love the New York Minute kind of lifestyle, and they like to be go, 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 go. I have a good friend who's like this. And so if that's you, like, great, like do your thing. But if you want a national or even an international following, but you're like me and you are very much a homebody, don't love the whole travel piece, then this little Mornings with Michelle episode is for you. Before I get into that, I want to share, because I mentioned it, the other area that I'm egocentric in, where I kind of have to remind myself that other people feel differently about a situation than I do. And that's with having babies. And so I'm 40 years old, and my oldest is 19. My middle will turn 17 next month, and then my youngest is 15. And so when I am listening to people and, they're saying like they're pregnant and they're 40 or, whatever, like my immediate demeanor, my face just goes long on them, right? And I'm like, I want to be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Because that's the way I would feel, right? I feel devastated to be pregnant right now. And so I have to kind of remind myself that, they're feeling different. They might be very excited to be pregnant at 40. And so anyway, we can be egocentric about a lot of things. And so I'm not trying to suggest that you shouldn't tramps all over the country if that's your thing. This video is just for people who are not really into that. And sometimes we do it because we think we need to do it in order to make the money that we want, or get the fame that we want, or get the exposure that we want. And I am living proof that none of that is true. Now, there is a little bit of a balance to this, right? Like if you are deliberately, as I am, cutting down on travel, and I have for several years now, then you do have to be very, very purposeful about building a following. And I do think that showing up in person occasionally, on your own terms, without compromise, but showing up in person occasionally does really help this. However, the bulk of my own work of building a following online is done right here from the comfort of my home office, where I can wear, something halfway decent on the top. Like, and I say halfway decent, I'm wearing a workout t-shirt right now. And very, very little makeup, but wearing something halfway decent and doing some video or having a podcast. I was listening to Amy Porterfield's podcast this past week, and it's one of the podcasts that I listen to, not all the time, but pretty regularly. And she shared why she doesn't love to do video, and she doesn't love to do video because she's insecure about her weight. And like, I totally get that. I'm sure she feels the same way about live events, right? And so I was listening to that and I realized like there's so many different ways to build your following online. And I'm not going to go into the technology of that today. I want to go into the practicality of it and the dailiness of it and the just the strategy, I guess, of building your following online if you are, in fact, like me and you're a homebody and you don't crave the travel, here to there and everywhere. So there's a million ways. So Amy Porterfield, I was talking about, she does her podcast and she has an amazing and growing following. And it's completely on her own terms, right? She gets to do it from her home. She gets to do it without, putting on makeup. She gets to do it without feeling insecure about her weight. She gets to do it without showing up in person, blah, 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 right? She's done it all on her own terms. And she uses a podcast. I largely use blogging on my own platform, the official Women Who Wow blog at bmichellepittman.com. I do it there. I use live video. I'm getting more and more into that. And I use Facebook largely. I do have other platforms. I don't myself personally engage on them, but I have people engaging there on my behalf. And the key is to really do something that feeds your soul, right? So that you don't dread the showing up, okay? Because you might dread the travel like I do and avoid it, but you want to build your following online. If you're saying, hey, I'm not going to be showing up in person, and I applaud that, that's the way I feel too, then you want to make sure you're building your following online in a way that you actually look forward to doing it, right? You don't want to take something like, if travel is the thing that you don't enjoy, you don't want to swap that out for something that's maybe more convenient, but you also don't enjoy it. And so there's a couple concepts or strategies of building a following definitely on your own terms without having to do anything, right? Without having to do video, without having to show up in person, without having to travel. This is about creating a following that you deserve of active, engaged people who buy from you without compromising on the how to get there. And so the first thing is, figure out what you love to do within your realm of your business, right? What do you love to do? And so if it's talking one-to-one to people, if it's doing video, if it's creating content, whatever it is, you can build your whole sales and marketing strategy and platform around that. And not only should you can, and you should, and it'll make for the easiest business growth you have ever imagined because you've dropped all of the things you thought you had to do in order to make it in your industry or create a name for yourself or whatever, and you've replaced it with things that you actually look forward to doing. That changes everything in your business. It changes the day. It changes the way you approach marketing, approach your market, because it's with an energy of service and excitement and not an energy of dread and all of that. So the first thing is really starting to say, okay, I'm going to build my following. I'm going to do it entirely on my own terms. What does that look like for me? What does it look like? What do I really love to do? What do I wake up excited to do every day? And build your marketing and sales platform around that, right? And then the second thing is, I need you to embrace this image of a beacon or a lighthouse. The lighthouse doesn't go out looking for lost sailors, right? Doesn't go out there and chase people down. The lighthouse just stands tall and bright, and the light is what brings people in. And so when you think about the just the comparative options of leaving your house, getting on a plane, flying somewhere, hoping it'll pay off maybe one day, or hoping like you meet this one person that's going to be your big break and blah, 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 blah. Like if you think of that and then you compare it to whatever it is that really lights you up, that you really enjoy doing, then, the thing is you have to think of it as, I'm not going to go out there and chase people anymore, right? I'm not going to go out there and chase them. I'm not going to chase them all over the country and figure out the best thing to wear and how I should show up and how I'm going to introduce myself and what little handout I'm going to have. Oh my gosh, that just drains the heck out of me. Instead, I need you to kind of embrace that analogy of the lighthouse and say, you know what, I'm going to stand tall, I'm going to stand bright, and the people are going to find me. Not all people, your people, the right people. they are going to find you. Now, here is how you stand tall and bright in the world of being an entrepreneur, specifically in the world of being a coach, author, consultant, thought leader, all of that. The first thing you need to do is you need to clean your lens, right? Thank you for the hearts. You want to clean your lens. You don't want it fogged up by public opinion or by trying to please people. You need to make sure that your light is shining not through a thick little scum of needing to please people or try not to piss people off or whatever, right? And so that's the first thing you need to do. It's like you need to look and think, where am I holding back right now for fear of disappointing someone or pissing someone off or whatever. So where am I holding back right now? Because that will dull your shine. That'll dull your light, and very few people will find it, right? So you want to wipe all that clear. That's the first thing, right? And then it's like, okay, well, where can I stand tallest? And that's when you show up and you look around the landscape, right? So you want to be bright and non-dulled by any expectations or public opinion or all that. Then you want to stand as tall as you can. And that means, especially if you are if you do not have the following that you want right now, and I don't have the following that I want right now, I'm actively building it. It's much bigger than I thought it could be years ago, and I'm grateful for it, but I want more. And so, I actively look around to see where I can stand the tallest. And sometimes that is on other people's land, right? That's on other people's property. Now, what the masses kind of teach regarding this is, showing up on other people's stages, their physical stage, showing up, flying, speaking, blah, blah, blah. And if that's your thing and you enjoy it, have at it. I don't enjoy that. And so what I look for are opportunities to show up and stand tall on someone else's land who maybe has a little bit of a taller hill that I can stand on and allow my light to be seen from there. And so there's so many different opportunities for this, right? There's so many different opportunities for this. Media is a huge one. And I was excited to be approved to be a Money Inc. contributor. And so I have a column there. And so if you have a story for me specifically about women entrepreneurs, please let me know, because that's going to be one place that I'm standing tall and shining my light. And I also look for, I participate in podcasts. Like I'm getting ready to do an interview for a podcast that I don't believe it's launched yet. It's called Passions and Passports. And I wrote an article about being location free, and they contacted me. And the truth is, like, I am location free. Like when you hear people talk about location free, it means like they can pack up their family and like travel to Bali and whatever, right? That's not how I'm location free. I wrote this article and saying like I'm kind of location free. Like I live exactly where I want, despite some of the challenges. Like right now, like my internet's down again, right? If the neighbor sneezes, our power goes out. It's like it's country, rural, slow living. Went to the bank the other day and they couldn't. They asked me. I had tried to get $400 out of my bank, and the ATM outside messed up on the guy in front of me and didn't give him his money. So that's why I was inside the bank, and I was trying to get $400. And she said, I had my family out in the car, and she's like, "Oh, can you wait 10 to 12 minutes?" I'm like, "No, I can't wait 10 to 12 minutes. I've got a place suit that I'm going, right? I've got an appointment." And she's like, "Oh, a fax just came in from Elizabeth City, and it'll probably take 10 to 12 minutes before like we can print your receipt." I was like, "I don't need a receipt. I just need the $400. Like, could you handwrite something? Could I just sign something or whatever?" So, and then she's like, "Oh, no." And so I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, I said, is there, like, this is a 2-story bank. And I said, is there maybe like another printer in the bank, right? Like, is that something that we could consider, like printing on another printer? Yeah, but that's all the way upstairs. I'm like, I'll go upstairs. I'll go just print it. I'll run upstairs. You tell me where to go. I'll get it. I'll print it, and bring it down. But it's sort of like this slow kind of country pace. And sometimes I get frustrated with it. At the same time, I love it. And I do get to live location free. And I don't have to travel to big cities. And although sometimes I do, and I do like big cities for like a day and a half or something like that. But after that, it starts to wear on me. But my point is that you can build your following from wherever your heart is happy, right? Wherever you really want to be in the world. And you don't have to be tramping from coast to coast in order to build a coast to coast following, right? And this is something that I've done very deliberately. I just want to give a few additional pointers on this that might be very tangible and impractical for you, and it's based on what I've done so far. So one is get into the media, right? Definitely get into the media. Now I had a difficult time getting into the media. I was not particularly someone that people wanted to put in the media, I guess. I don't know. I failed. I struck out over and over and over again. And I said, screw it. I'll become the media, right? Like, I know how to write. And I got a column with Biz Women, and it was syndicated nationally throughout all the business journals all over the country. I now have a column with Money Inc. I started writing occasionally for my local inside business. Don't do that much anymore. I just don't do much local business. But I started figuring out how to work within the media so that I could get the spotlight that I felt like I deserved and that I wanted. And so definitely media is a great tool if you want to build a following without going coast to coast, right? The other thing is, you've heard me say several times, this is not something I really intended on saying publicly, but you've heard me talk about how Women Who Wow has members in all 50 states and 8 countries. And the 8 countries was never intentional for me. That is a complication other than like Canada, but like that's a complication that I never sought deliberately for myself. But definitely being national was something I sought. And so when I realized that I had members, I think it was like in, I don't know, maybe 39 states or something like that. Like, I deliberately went after those 11 states. Like, I found women entrepreneurs in there and introduced myself, and I did it all digitally. I did it all from right here, in my home, but I was very deliberate about that. And so if you are saying, I want to build my following, I want members in all 50 states, I want clients in all 50 states, or I want clients in 2 states, or what have you, then go out there and be intentional about it. Go and introduce yourselves. Do it digitally. Do it via video, podcast, whatever. So that's another like kind of tool that I've used, is deliberately setting up relationships and clients and stuff like that in various areas, because if I do well with them, they're talking about me and they're telling people about me. And so I've been very deliberate about that. And I encourage you to get deliberate as well. So if you are saying like, okay, Michelle, I'm trusting you. I'm not going to, I don't love to travel, and so I'm not going to travel. I'm going to, put my heart and soul into building a following my own way. Then really the other strategy is do it daily, right? Like, you cannot build a following without showing up daily. You have to be worth following, right? You got to have a viewpoint. You got to be bright and clear and fogged over by the court of public opinion and what's appropriate and all of this stuff. You got to stand tall. So that means getting on someone else's land, get on someone else's land. And you got to be deliberate about making sure that your messaging and your brand and your however you're serving people is showing up in places that allow you to kind of plant some seeds and then grow. So I hope this has been helpful for you. I feel like I've been doing a little bit of rambling. I hope you like my little country bank story. Still bank there. I got to call them in a minute because my international purchases are not going through on my credit card. So I've got to figure that one out. And I hope that they can help me. But anyway, I appreciate you guys. I will be back again tomorrow morning for another #Mornings with Michelle. I would love for this to turn into more of a conversation. If you have any questions or comments, put them below. If you have something you want me to cover, put them below. And I'll be sure to cover it and work it into my Mornings with Michelle time. So I appreciate you guys, and I'll talk with you soon. Bye.